Good evening, everybody. I hope you all are having an absolutely wonderful day today. My name is James Goss. I want to welcome you here. This is my channel. This is Escaping the Neon. If you're new here, basically what I did at the beginning of this channel was I took my side hustles, I transformed that into my 9 to 5, so I grew my side hustles. I was able to leave my regular full-time job, start exploring my side hustles more, start growing my businesses. Since I was able to leave my 9 to 5 job, I've had this awesome entrepreneurial journey. I'm still on the journey. I'm learning every day. I'm hoping to give you guys a little bit of motivation, kind of show you guys how I'm doing it, what I'm doing, and see if any of this stuff will work for you. So today what I'm doing is, this is kind of a unique project, but basically what I'm doing is we have a house that's been in my family for a long time, like over 100 years, and it's got a piece of property along with it as well. And a couple of years back, I got absolutely intrigued by the thought of short-term rentals. And I'd been trying to find something in this short-term rental space just to kind of test out Airbnb and get a feel for the way the system works, whether it's kind of a viable option of, actually making income. I know people do it, but I'm curious as to kind of, how it's going to work for me. So the long and short is my dad was, he had a long-term tenant in there for years and years, like my entire childhood. I'd say at least 12 years of my life he had it basically rented, but I came down here a lot as a kid, and now basically his tenant left, and I said, why don't you let me give it a shot to turn it into an Airbnb, with all the land and the pond and all the stuff. So basically I'm giving an update today. I'm actually at the property right now, so I came up here. I'm going to spend the night. You'll see, obviously I'm not in my regular office. I'm obviously dressed in some work clothes here, so I've got a few little projects that I want to do while I'm up here, but basically I wanted to talk through the steps that I'm doing and what I'm going to be, basically how I'm going to start this to see if this is even a viable project, and hopefully give you a little bit of ideas on how you can start your own, or how to go about something like this. And I'm going to show you if it works. Basically, if you have, like, if you're in a similar situation where you have kind of a vacant piece of land and you want to try some of the stuff I'm going to try, like, moving forward, I want to add some nature trails, I want to pretty up the pond. I just want to make it like an outdoorsy kind of Airbnb, and I'm hoping it'll work. So we're in western Pennsylvania, so honestly I wouldn't say it's a necessarily depressed area, but I think once kind of coal mining fell out of fashion in this area, a lot of the income that was generated, so you can kind of imagine, it's a bit of a downtrodden area. I'm really trying to bring a little bit of light back to the area. And really make something that's going to benefit everybody. Like, I think in this town that I'm in right now, there's like 360 people that live here. I'm just kind of hoping that, like, this isn't the only form of income that I'm chasing after. And really, I'm hoping to bring some good to the community that's here as well, in whatever way, shape, or form I can. I don't know exactly what that translates to or what that means, but I'm really hoping that I can bring some value. So a couple things I'm going to go into. What I've done so far. First of all, I did a walk around inspection just with my own basic knowledge, having a real estate license, and just basic knowledge of doing home inspections, because I'm in the market currently to buy a home right now, and the homes I'm looking at oftentimes are on the older side. So I walked around and did an inspection. Basically, I realized that really, I don't know enough to really know what I need to do at this property. So what I did is I found a local home inspector, and I've called him, and so he's going to meet me here tomorrow morning. So that's really the beginning of the process, and I know that I have a problem with my septic leach field. So I'm getting my septic leach field, at least an estimate, because that's something I can't do until the spring. But basically I'm getting an estimate, so I've got kind of like the local handyman / excavator guy coming out, and then we have a home inspector. So I'm hoping tomorrow I'm going to have a lot more information as to what this is going to cost me up front, which I know is going to be a lot. And really what my plan is to hopefully just spend like roughly $1,000 a month or something to be able to put towards this. And like, over the course of a good couple months, maybe I'll put a couple extra $1,000 down here and there, as it's available to kind of speed this process along. But basically this is somewhat of a long-term project. I'm going to be doing a bunch of content around this project. But again, I have the home inspector coming tomorrow. I have the excavator / handyman guy coming tomorrow. Obviously I can't stay here. My home is in Maryland, close to DC. Most of my projects for the current job and the company that I'm taking over is all DC, so I'm only going to be here for a little while, and that's kind of going to be how it goes moving forward. Obviously, you see I'm not in my regular office. I've literally got a folding table, folding chair. I brought my microphone set up and my camera, my computer. Any type of Wi-Fi, I'm just hotspotting from my phone. You know, it'll be fun to kind of see how this plays out. The first, you know, today and tomorrow I'll be doing like basically working from here. So there's some things I can do, obviously, but I don't have to be on site. I can do work from here, assuming my hotspot works and I can be a part of meetings and whatnot. You know, but that's all to be seen as to how good the service is, and you know how well I can connect to the internet. So a couple things I wanted to go into. I reached out to this local college, and it's about 30 minutes away. And what I did was, you know, I said, hey, look, I got 70 acres, I got a pond, I got forest, I got a creek, a lot of cool stuff. You know, do you have any students that would be interested in coming out and studying this? Basically, is there any benefit of, you know, could anybody use this? And like I said, I reached out to the biology department. I got about 6 responses from different professors. Really, really interested, want to bring kids out here every year, get them to do projects out here, and, you know, run tests and basically just get some field experience. Apparently this is something they've really been needing, with some open land that somebody's willing to let the kids come out and do field experience. So I'm overjoyed that I'm already hopefully being able to bring some value and, you know, a little bit of benefit to me actually, you know, doing something out here. And that, you know, kind of comes in the form of me saying, hey, let's help these kids out. Let's help this college out. And it's been cool already. One of the first guys that I met, he's in charge of a forestry program. He's like obviously very familiar with the type of forest around here. So he wants to come out. He said just kind of to give back to me. He wants to do a whole forest survey. He's a part of a conservation group that, you know, they have a grant that could potentially help you with forest conservation if that's something you're interested in. But the long and short is he's going to give me an overall kind of health checkup on how our forest is. I know we've done some timber, which is essentially taking logs and selling them to, you know, lumber mills. So they'll come out and get the logs and whatnot. He said that's kind of a scam around here. They'll say, oh, we're leaving all your, you know, your young trees so you'll be able to timber it. But he said that's a scam. They totally just destroy your forest. And basically, if you don't know any better, then it's destroyed. So, you know, they probably did something similar to that because that's basically the exact same call that we got. But that's okay. You know, it is what it is, and you know, we've learned. So, you know, we can only do what we can do. But we're going to get a whole kind of overall health report from that guy. So I'm really excited about that. And that's basically what we've got going on at the Airbnb. What I'm going to do later on is I'm going to walk the camera around. I'm going to show everything we've got going on here. And I'm going to kind of show what I'm going to be working on and just show you guys the start, like the very beginning of this Farmhouse Airbnb project. So basically what my goal here is I had a home inspector come by earlier today and give me a rundown on, you know, kind of the shape of the house. And turns out it's a square. No, but basically, so I had a guy come out and, you know, give me a general idea of what needs attention and what I'm going to do. He wouldn't let me record. I asked him if I could record because I wanted it for YouTube, but he said he wasn't really comfortable with it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through, hopefully quickly because we got some snow and I'm trying to hit the road, but I want to go through and, you know, go through what all he said we needed, go from there. So, starting with the front of the house, first thing that you may or may not notice is you've got gutter problems. Big problem. Flags are coming down, by the way, guys. Nobody get offended. Wasn't us. But anyway, so we got gutter problems. The gutter's obviously not draining at all. At one point, on the other side of the house, the gutter's not even connected. But that was the first thing that he mentioned was definitely the gutter problems. We got some siding issues here with this trim that needs some love. I know for a fact the doors need to be replaced here. But like you said, this is literally not even, you know, the gutter's not allowing any water to flow from the roof. And he said that's, you know, a really big factor as far as you want all your downspouts to be pointing away from the foundation of your house. These are not. So there needs to be a grade. There is a decent grade, but the downspouts, literally you can see this downspout terminates right there. So definitely need some love there. He said make sure, watch that gasket. That can go bad. Along the foundation here, a lot of this needs to be repointed. It's not in terrible shape. but needs to be repointed along in here. He said this stuff is okay. This needs to be caulked here. He said this stuff was okay. He pointed out the power lines from the road. I don't know if you can see that or not, but they're going through this tree. So he said that was definitely something that those branches need to be pruned, because as soon as one of those snaps off, it's going to cut your whole power off to there. So he did say the, there's supposed to be a bend in the wires that allows water to drip off. It does have that, so we're good there. And then again, along this foundation here, we've got a little bit of cracking, so we're going to need to do stuff with that. Here is a problematic area, and this is a much bigger problem when you get under here and actually look at it. So there's a little bit of a view under here in a little bit. So I'm going to try and do this real quick again, as I'm trying to beat the snow. But so under here, he said there should be ties here, and new decks, or the code for new decks is 6x6, and that's a 4x4 post. So he said, that's something to think about. Not a huge factor right now. But then these 2x4s that are all married together, he said this should be held in with lag bolts, and then there should be hangers. So that's the type of project maybe I can do. And then when you get under here, this is a problem, guys. This is definitely a problem. So, as you can see, we've got some serious cracks in the foundation there. Same over here. We've got some problems along in there. So that is obviously a little more than than just repointing. Some of that stuff, yes, is repointing, but when you get into stuff like that, that's going to be a little bit more of a repair. And once we get into the basement, you'll get a little better feel for it and what's going on down here. Sorry, I'm really hunched over here. So, moving right along here. These railings, these are a problem. Basically, they need to be taller, and they need to make so a kid can't come through. Like with this X thing, it looks good and it was probably relatively easy, but we got to have every there can be no more than a 4-inch gap. So that's something to keep in mind with the deck here. He said with these windows, bare minimum sand scrape paint. I think it could use a replacement, but start with sand scrape paint. The deck's in decent shape. Said the same with these windows, sand scrape paint. Sand scrape and paint, replace the screens. This door, all the doors here just need to be replaced for sure. Siding's in decent shape. There's a couple of siding cracks on the other side that I kind of glazed over here. This is our gas line, so there's a natural gas well that's feeding the house. So that's why there's no meter here to see how much gas it's using. It's because, the property is supplying the house with gas. But this is a shut-off valve, so that was good. Again, we got some more foundational things we need. This door, total trash. Gotta get that. Stuff like that. Problems in the siding. There's a couple of siding pieces that need to be replaced. I also noticed up there we're missing some of the fascia board. There's metal fascia, and looks like that has fallen off. So that's something to keep in mind. So coming into the house here, nice and toasty warm. So basically what he did was started from the top down. That's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to take us into the attic here. Now the tenant that was in here before still has a good bit of stuff. Not a huge amount, but all the stuff you see in here is hers. I'm going to talk to her today and basically It's going to be trashed. But I'll go into that in another video. So here's where we started. We're in the attic here. I was concerned with like this type of stuff. That is apparently an old style of insulation. It's a sawdust insulation. Some of the good stuff though was that this insulation was basically all the electric has been rewired. This is the old school style of electricity that's been cut off and terminated. It's not live, so that's great. So some of these boards up here are spongy, you know, and obviously we need them to be replaced. This is a problem. Right here, there's moisture damage as I stand here. But this was an old chimney that has obviously since been removed. But he says that he believes there was a fire at some point. And it's caused a little bit of damage. Now, it's not structural or anything like that, but he still recommended replacing that type of stuff. And then this was the biggest problem that he identified, which I don't know how easy it is to tell, but we've got a rafter, and that whole piece is rotten out. So he said basically replace the whole thing or sister another rafter up against it, but to me it seems like replacement is the best option there. So he did a moisture test, and there was a little teeny bit of moisture right in here, and he said maybe if it wasn't snowing and it was raining there might actually be a leak, so that's something I need to keep in mind here. And he recommended basically getting somebody to come and check the roof out again. It's a hip roof and it's like weirdly tarred at the top. That's how I feel when I wake up in the morning, just weirdly tarred. But yeah, so that was basically it for the attic. Obviously the floor needs some love up there, but from a safety and structural perspective we're in pretty good shape. Bathroom, these things could be shored up to the wall a little bit. As you can see, you know, it's some issues going on there. So he said there's just a little backer plate you can put in there. He said that thing is good, that's good. He recommended caulking all along the top and the bottom here. He said that will give you a little bit of extra life. Toilet is a little bit shaky. So he recommended replacing the seal there at the bottom and rebolting it to the ground. Then in here, windows, you know, obviously something that we're going to have to do, but these actually weren't in terrible shape. The outside window in that one was busted, but in this room there wasn't too much. There needs to be a smoke detector. If you can see that little circle there is where a smoke detector should go. So, you know, I need a little 8-pack of smoke detectors. But in this hallway, he said this thing needed to be raised, or, you know, not necessarily needs to be, but it's not up to code anymore. It should be 32 inches, and you know, he measured, it's like 28, I believe. There's another missing smoke detector there in the center, by the way. But not a whole lot going on in these rooms. Let's see what else. This window, I believe one of these was completely broken. Yeah, this one needed to completely be replaced. Yeah, you can see that it's literally held on there. They're keeping it from falling out from that nail right there, and on the other side as well. So this is a definite replacement. There's no putting that off. Now some of this stuff that he didn't say too much about this stuff. Now all of these plugs, he tested all of them. 99% of them are GFI. There was one that we'll go into later that was not. So in this room we went through the windows, and he told me a little bit about these heat exchangers, and we identified some HVAC issues. There's the closet in there, so but not a whole lot of issues here. He did test that's bone dry, so that was solved years ago when they retarred the roof. May need to be done again. But anyway, so that's that for this level. I'll turn the lights off later. So here, front door, this is the best door in the whole house. Still probably needs to be replaced. These windows may or may not need some love. From the kitchen, this is a problem under here. There shouldn't be corrugated pipe there. So he said that, and duct tape is not an appropriate way to hold that. So needs a little bit of plumbing love under here, but there is no water leaking, so that's good. At least this is in good shape, but that needs to be fixed for sure. Water pressure was good. Water temperature was at least within range. He said it was a little cold, but you know, within range. One of the, yeah, this window is broken. This definitely needs to be replaced. There's a good look at the drop ceiling that we'll be hopefully removing during this process and raising the ceiling about, you know, a foot, foot and a half, whatever that ends up being. So, oh, something that I didn't touch on that we did go through. This back here, he said this was okay. This is HVAC lines coming from the basement. It looked terrible to me, like a huge mess, and I was like, oh Jesus. But he said it's relatively normal and it's okay, up to standard, so that's good. No dishwasher here. I was questioning whether we'd be able to get that installed. One of the things he said is, from the Airbnb perspective, he said ovens have an tip over device, and he said you got heavy food, you know, pots, you know, turkeys in the oven, whatever, they could potentially flip over. So he said, you know, nobody ever installs them, but he recommended installing that. Cabinets, everything like that was in good shape. All GFI plugs in here. This door, as we know, needs to be replaced. So let's see, fridge, he tested all that. All this, the stove works, everything's good there. Coming in here, basically the same thing with those HVAC lines. One of them not even attached. Oh, you know, yeah, okay, so look right here. This isn't even attached. So I don't know if this is a return line. You know, there's a little bit of chilly air coming up through there. So, whew, that just touched me on the side of the face and scared the living shit out of me. But, so there's that. And he said, you know, again, this to me looks like absolutely terrifying and like horrible. Definitely could use to be prettied up, but nothing necessarily wrong with it, so that's definitely good. Same coming across here, but look, you know, we've got another just open HVAC, you know, duct that I believe should go into there. No heat coming out of it or anything, like I just don't know where that's supposed to be going, but definitely need an HVAC guy. I think that's it, really. Oh, the bathroom. Bathroom cold water line doesn't work. So he said that could be turned off. Also could be, you know, could be frozen. And he said since this is an exterior wall and there's no heat source in here, he highly recommended putting in, you know, a little heater to keep the walls warm, to keep the stuff from freezing. Now this, I believe, is a non-GFI. One of these plugs in here is non-GFI, and that was the only one that he identified as non-GFI. So, down the hole we go. So this is the sketchier part, where we have some issues that we're going to need to address. Number one, he tested this for being level. Totally not level, as you maybe can even tell from the video. And there's why. Right there. So there's one of your floor supports. That is literally just like, I don't even know if that's directly touching, but that needs to be shored up. He went through this whole well and explained this really well, even though it's really well. Nice one. But obviously, you know, it's working. It's not brand new, but it's okay. He went through this. This is a septic pipe. This right here is a condensate line from our furnace. which I'll explain later on. We've got what he called to be a stink pipe. That's something that I didn't mention on the outside of the house. So if you follow this pipe, it's exiting right here, and that pipe, if it is that he believes to be a stink pipe, it needs to be routed past beyond the roof of the house. So that needs to be raised up a good bit. So this is a sewage line, and there used to be two drains out to the septic. Now there's only one, and this sewage line is another problem down here. So look, you've got that held up, literally just held up by metal ties. So may work, definitely not to code. This is another thing that he identified as an issue. The toilet upstairs barely flushes pee, so Lord only knows when you get some solids in there what's going on. But he believes this is a big problem, and that could be why you don't get a lot of like flushing pressure, because he said there's no reason that there should be this trap here. That basically the point of that is to prevent like sewage gases and bad smells from coming back into the house. But he said that should not be there, and he thinks that could be causing a serious problem. So coming over here, we've got an HVAC line that is just like literally just wide open, just dumping in here. That should probably be attached to that and going somewhere and doing something. You can tell I'm a pro. But yeah, if we follow these lines, we'd be able to get to a little bit better of a solution here. Let's get a flashlight on, because I'm going to show you where we got some real problems. So let's start with this. This is a problem, definitely an issue. So you see the foundation is somewhat coming in. Now this isn't terrible, honestly. I've been in worse houses, considered buying worse houses, but definitely needs love, needs to be fixed. So there's a couple of different ways about going about doing it, but I'm getting some pricing and we'll figure that out. But this is basically priority number one, is going to be repairing where this foundation is causing problems. So you can see, there's like air just straight blowing through there, and it's kind of caving in on itself. A little bit of wetness down here. The tenant came by today and she said, you have to wear boots in this basement sometimes because there'd be so much water intrusion. If you can see here, this looks like pretty clear river where water comes in from the foundation. So, and that's something that he said with the gutters, make sure everything's flowing away. If the gutters overflow, it's dumping right onto your foundation, causing issues like this. But this is something that needs to be addressed right away, before it gets in worse shape and destroys the entire house. So at least there is a door. I don't know if you can really tell, but there is a door there. So at least you can somewhat get materials in and out, and it might not be as big of a huge pain in the ass. So here's your hot water tank. That's been done in '08, so could use some love. I'm sure he'll include this on the inspection report, but something with that valve up there needs to be closer to the ground. He said really easy, like $5 fix. This is the furnace here, high efficiency furnace. Here's that condensator pump that we were talking about, and it's got the condensate line that's going into that septic drain. So he unpinned all of this, took it all apart, opened it up. He said everything looked good inside. It was dry, there was no moisture, but it absolutely needs a filter change. You can see the filter actually right here. It does not fit. That is the filter, and let me tell you, it's disgusting. I mean, it's bad, nasty. So that needs to be fixed. You can see there's water damage. There's clearly standing water here a good bit of the time, and you can see that that's soaking it up like a sponge. So a couple other things that he pointed out down here. Some of these boards somewhere along in here, he found some termite damage, minor termite damage, but termite damage nonetheless. So here is some of that damage. Now he said typically there would be like trails. If this was an active infestation, there would be these trails. So he doesn't think that is an active infestation, but he does believe there are termites down here. Another reason for him believing that is that right there. that is a trail. So that's what termites like walk down, because I guess they have to have moisture. Anyway, it doesn't really matter, but that is a termite trail, and there's a little bit of termite damage. So he recommends doing a full pest inspection and doing a mitigation for that. And that is what I remember from down here. I believe that about covers it. I think so. We're over here. So again, obvious moisture. Oh, yeah, there's clearly a problem. That's our staircase foundation, so that needs love. We've got a mess. I mean, these vent pipes are going everywhere. I need somebody that knows more what they're doing than me, but anyway, so this is what we got going on. This was the home inspection that he gave me, and I think I've went over everything pretty well as I can remember. And then this panel box. He did go into this panel box a bit. He opened it up in the back, and there was a teeny little bit of rust down here at the bottom, which means there's a little bit of water coming in from here. He believes following the electric lines. So that was something that he put on the inspection report, and I'm gonna have to keep an eye on it. So I'm gonna go ahead and kill that light before I kill myself here, busting my face open on this sketchy staircase. So that is the walkthrough, and that is the project that I'm starting with. And yeah, basically the first things that I have to do are figure out that the foundation, get that shored up, and then deal with HVAC and leach field. As you can see, it's snowing out here right now. But yeah, so I also got an estimate for the leach field, and that's going to be $3,500 right off the break. So, but it's got to be done, so it is what it is. But anyway, so that's the walkthrough. I hope I covered everything. I appreciate you all tuning in. I hope you guys have an absolutely wonderful day. Thank you for your time, and enjoy. But I really appreciate y'all joining me on this journey. I'm super excited to get this going. We got a ton of other things going on, so if you're not following, please subscribe to my channel. Please like this. Please comment on this video if you have any questions. If there's anything you want me to show you, anything you want me to go into. I know I'm kind of shooting broadly out here right now, but I'm just trying to give you the beginning of this project and what I'm doing. Again, my name is James Goss. This is my channel, Escaping the Neon. I want to thank you guys so much for tuning into this. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you found a little bit of value. If there's anything that I can do for you, anything that I can show you, anything I can be more clear on, please drop it in the comments. My goal here is to help people, give people that motivation they need to move forward, and that's what I'm here for. So if there's anything I can do to help you, please don't hesitate to reach out. Please drop a comment. Please subscribe. Please like. Do all that happy stuff for me. So anyway, thank you so much again. I hope you have an absolutely wonderful evening.